They're deleting them right now. As you watch this video, clips that sat online for years without a problem are being pulled down on purpose.
Everybody in the audience started whispering. And of course, you're watching the viewers to see if they're even interested in the movie, but they were very, very locked in. At one point, they all started whispering, and I thought I've never seen that before. So after the movie, I asked them a couple of questions, and then I had to ask them, why were you whispering at this one particular part in the movie? And I didn't pick up on it. And they all started screaming out, Epstein Island.
The moment he said it in public, Hollywood went silent. Then they moved.
What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean.
That clip used to be a joke. Now it's evidence. And now it's disappearing.
I never heard from my agency for 14 months. My lawyers let me go. My agency never called me after that, and essentially I was done.
This is what happens when you expose the machine, and this is what they don't want you to see. His name is Jim Caviezel. You know him as Jesus from The Passion of the Christ. For decades, he was a respected Hollywood actor, safe, accepted, part of the system. Then he made Sound of Freedom. That movie was based on real child rescue operations, real anti-trafficking work, real kids being saved. When it came out, something unexpected happened. Instead of the industry celebrating it, they attacked him, called him a conspiracy theorist, tried to bury the film. And when that didn't work, they went after him. But here's what nobody expected. Caviezel didn't back down. He doubled down. He started showing the movie in private screenings across the country. And in one of those screenings, in Las Vegas, something shifted. The audience started whispering during a specific moment in the film. Not once, multiple times.
During one part of the film, everybody in the audience started whispering. And of course, you're watching the viewers to see if they're even interested in the movie, but they were very, very locked in. At one point, they all started whispering, and I thought I've never seen that before. So after the movie, I asked them a couple of questions, and then I had to ask them, why were you whispering at this one particular part in the movie? And I didn't pick up on it. And they all started screaming out, Epstein Island.
That moment changed everything, because in that screening room, Caviezel realized something. The audience recognized what was in the film. They knew exactly what he was talking about, and they were confirming it to each other in real time. Epstein wasn't operating alone. The island wasn't an anomaly. It was a network, and that network has tentacles reaching directly into Hollywood.
Epstein Island isn't the only island out there where they have hurt children.
Are you saying this the type of thing in the film that is going to be revealed and people are going to see? I mean, is that why this is so controversial? Is it the powers that be are trying to stop this?
Caviezel didn't just make a movie, he made a map, and Hollywood saw it. They saw it immediately, and they panicked. But before we get to why they panicked, you need to understand what Caviezel was actually saying. Because it wasn't just about Epstein. It was about a system that stretched from the island into the highest levels of entertainment.
About what is driving this child?
Well, obviously the money. It's $152 billion a year business, and to put that in perspective, that would be every NFL football team, pro sport in the U.S., also World Cup soccer, and then sending your kid to college. Every 18-year-old gets to go to Stanford University for 4 years.
Yeah.
That would be $152 billion.
What is your hope for this film?
Well, right now, we're looking for 2 million people to come to the theater for the 2 million children. Now, it's a lot bigger empire than that, because there's organ harvesting and all of that other stuff.
$152 billion a year. That's not a fringe operation. That's not a few bad actors. That's an empire. And empires don't fall quietly. They defend themselves. They silence the people who threaten them. Here's where the Ellen tapes come in. In 2022, Ellen's show ended. The official story was simple. A workplace scandal made headlines, her image took a hit, and she decided to step away. Classic cancel culture narrative. She had a bad day, she was mean to staff, "Sorry everyone, goodbye." But that's not the whole story. Because in 2023, as the Epstein files started being unsealed, people went back through old Ellen footage. And they started noticing things. Strange moments, coded language, inside jokes that suddenly didn't look like jokes anymore. And once they started looking, something else happened. The clips started disappearing. Copyright claims that appeared long after the videos were posted. Geo-blocking in certain countries. Videos flagged and removed years after they originally aired. This is not normal. Think about how copyright takedowns actually work. A creator uploads something they don't own. The platform gets notified. The video comes down within days, maybe hours. That's the standard pattern, because rights holders watch closely from the start. But these Ellen clips, they sat online for years. Viewed by millions, reposted hundreds of times, no action. Then all at once, gone. Flagged, removed. That's not routine copyright enforcement. That's damage control. And the timing is everything.
I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media. Look it up. It's there. They absolutely went after me. And the next day, I never heard from my agents, my agency.
Within 24 hours of Caviezel naming what he knew, his representation disappeared. His agency went silent. His lawyers dropped him. He was erased from the system that had supported his career for decades. That's not a coincidence. That's a message. Now, let's look at the specific clip that people keep circling back to, because there's one moment from Ellen's show that has become the focal point. And once you understand why, you understand why the panic started. Sandra Bullock was on Ellen's show, normal daytime TV. She was talking about her skincare routine. Celebrities love talking about their beauty secrets. Nothing controversial about that. Then Ellen asked her about a specific facial treatment, a treatment so extreme that Bullock seemed hesitant to name it directly. Watch what happens next.
Let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces through microneedling. It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sandra?
Sarah?
Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
The crowd laughed. Ellen laughed. It got packaged as the kind of shocking celebrity overshare that keeps daytime TV ratings up. Weird enough to be memorable. Funny enough that nobody had to sit with it. But here's the problem. It wasn't actually funny. And now that we know what we know, it doesn't look like a joke at all. It looks like a confession. Because Caviezel has been saying for years that the elite are obsessed with extracting youth from young bodies. Specifically, he's talked about something called adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome. That's not true. It's C9H9NO3. This is a chemical compound that is absolutely listed. It's been around in modern science since the 1930s. You can actually, there's a synthetic form and there's a regular natural form, which is caused by torture kids to get their adrenaline up, essentially, and then extracting it from them. When you sit and so I brought this up a few years ago, and all of a sudden I was attacked by every media.
When Caviezel said this out loud, the media crucified him, called him crazy, called him a conspiracy theorist, said he was pushing QAnon narratives. But here's what happened next. Ellen made that joke about foreskin from a Korean baby on national television. She said it in front of a studio audience. She said it to one of the most famous actresses in the world. She said it on camera. And then, when people started connecting those dots, when Caviezel's revelations suddenly made that Ellen clip look very different, the clip started disappearing. That's not a coincidence. That's evidence destruction.
I mean, I think everyone's hopeful that this is like a real turning point, and that people are learning from this. People, it's, the only silver lining in all of this is that it feels like victims of this feeling safe enough and bold enough to come forward and tell their stories, and we need to continue to have more of that. And eliminated altogether.
But they're not coming forward. They're being silenced. The evidence is being scrubbed, and the people who know what's happening are being removed from positions of power. Because that's the other layer of this story. It's not just about old clips. It's about who else was connected to that ecosystem. Ellen wasn't operating in a vacuum. When you look at who she was closest to, who she socialized with, whose events she attended, you start seeing a pattern. And that pattern includes people who are now being publicly associated with the Epstein network, Oprah, Diddy, powerful gatekeepers who could make or break young careers. Think about how the industry actually works. Young people come to Los Angeles every single day looking for a break. They're vulnerable, they're ambitious, they trust the big names, they trust the network executives, they trust the daytime hosts with millions of viewers. If the people at the top of that pyramid are connected to predatory networks, the danger isn't theoretical, it's real.
I think that that's not something that happens here in the United States. Well, absolutely it does. Over 300,000 children under the ages of 18 were sucked into the deepest recesses of hell, and it's disgusting that the media hasn't covered it like they should.
300,000 children. And the entertainment industry? It's a recruitment ground for that network, a system where talented kids get discovered, brought into the fold, introduced to the right people, and then disappeared. Ellen's show was one of the most powerful platforms in America for 20 years. She had the power to make careers. She had access to young talent. She was trusted by parents. She was trusted. And according to multiple former staff members, behind the scenes, it was a different story entirely.
We had to walk on eggshells with her because when we would be pitching, her snide remarks would be, what am I going to talk to them about? I don't know. I have nothing to say. I don't know. So we would write the whole outline for her, and then the guests would walk off feeling like crap.
But there's something else that people who worked on set have mentioned. Something that gets glossed over because it sounds extreme until you understand the context. Hidden cameras. In private spaces.
In my dressing room, you have the bathroom with a camera, so I put towels all over the camera. And I went and peed in Kobe Bryant's dressing room because I was scared.
Well, you're right. I was trying to scare.
Really?
You got here an hour early, and I was trying to scare.
Selena Gomez discovered cameras in her private dressing room bathroom during her appearance on the show. Ellen laughed it off as a prank. But surveillance of guests in private spaces isn't a prank. It's surveillance. It's a violation. And it happened on a show that was supposed to be about kindness. The contradiction is the point. Because that gap between the public image and the private reality, that gap is exactly what keeps people quiet. Guests come on the show, they experience something uncomfortable or strange, but the show has millions of viewers. The host is beloved. Everyone is smiling and dancing. So they question themselves. They wonder if they're overreacting. They stay quiet. That's how the system protects itself. But Caviezel wasn't quiet. After Sound of Freedom came out, after the audiences started recognizing what was in the film, after Epstein Island became a household phrase connected to his work, Caviezel did something most Hollywood actors would never do. He went looking for allies. He approached major names in entertainment, people with massive platforms, people who could have shifted the entire national conversation if they spoke up. Most of them said nothing. I personally approached major names in entertainment, people with massive platforms. I wanted them to speak up about child exploitation. I wanted them to use their reach the way I was using mine. Silence. That silence is the answer. Because if you're someone who knows, even if you're just connected to people who know, you have two choices. You either speak up and risk everything, or you stay quiet and protect your position in the system. Almost everyone chose silence. That's when the industry's response became clear. They couldn't stop Sound of Freedom from being made. They couldn't stop it from being seen. It eventually grossed over $100 million at the box office, made on a fraction of the budget. So they did the next best thing. They erased the person who made it. They labeled him a conspiracy theorist. They cut him off from representation. They made sure that every major platform would treat his name like a liability.
I'll give you an example, Charlie. We were about 4 years ago, we showed the movie, and this has been a 5-year deal. And they've done everything they could to stop it, as they did this with the Passion of the Christ. And then I talked to Tim Ballard immensely about organ harvesting. This trafficking is just the beginning of this whole thing. It's an 8-armed octopus, and if you take just picking out, that arm will grow back. You have to take the head.
The octopus has 8 arms: grooming, pornography, trafficking, organ harvesting, and more. You cut off one, another grows back. The only way to stop it is to cut off the head. But the head is protected. The head sits at the top of the entertainment pyramid. The head decides what gets made, what gets buried, what gets erased. And when Caviezel threatened to expose that head, the machine moved. The clips started disappearing. Not all of them, just the specific ones. Just the ones that looked different once people understood what they were actually watching. Because that's what damage control looks like in the age of the internet. You can't erase something that millions have seen, but you can make it harder to find. You can flag it, you can geo-block it, you can hit it with copyright strikes years after it aired. You can gaslight an entire culture into thinking they imagined what they saw. Here's what we know as fact. Caviezel made a movie about child rescue. The movie succeeded despite massive industry opposition. He spoke publicly about Epstein connections. He named adrenochrome. He challenged major celebrities to speak up about child exploitation. Within 24 hours, his representation dropped him. Within weeks, his name became radioactive in the industry. Within months, old Ellen clips started being flagged and removed. Those are facts, on the record, documented.
I would absolutely die. If this were to change the world and get rid of trafficking and pornography and all of the 8 arms of this octopus that has to be destroyed, the only way you can destroy it is take the head out. If that hit, I'd give my life for it in a heartbeat.
Caviezel is still out there, still talking, still pushing, and the industry is still working overtime to make sure nobody listens. Because if people understood what was actually in those old clips, if people connected the dots between Caviezel's revelations and Ellen's coded language and the systematic disappearance of evidence, the narrative would collapse. Hollywood isn't just panicking about Sound of Freedom. It's panicking about what happens when people stop laughing and start looking. The tapes are disappearing. The evidence is being scrubbed. The witnesses are being silenced. But the questions remain. And the more you look, the harder it becomes to unsee what's actually happening.